WWRR, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, WMMZ, Berwick, Bloomsburg, Hazleton, WYCK, Plains.
Powered by Mohegan Sun Pocono.
It's the New River, 105 and 103.5.
This is Music on the Menu on the River.
Timothy, where on earth did you go?
Featuring Northeast PA's best artists.
Maybe, never mind. She can move me like the stereo, like a song on the radio. She's an angel in the morning, yeah, that's right.
And now, here's your host, Alan K. Stout.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
All right, everybody. Happy Sunday night. Welcome to Music on the Menu on the River. Alan K. Stout, as I always am, Sunday nights, 9 to 10 o'clock, bringing you regional artists doing their own original material from right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Hanging out with D.C. Taylor. D.C., good to see you, my friend.
You too, Alan. Another Sunday night.
Another Sunday night.
Yeah,
Last Sunday night was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we got... we had some really nice feedback on our program with Jimmy Harnan.
That was a great interview.
Well, he was a great interview.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things that he touched upon over the course of the hour. Usually we play about a dozen songs on a Sunday night. We only played, I think, 4 or 5 last week.
Yeah.
Jimmy was just so good, but we decided to roll with it.
Yeah,
So
why not?
we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But what I want to do tonight is get back to what we normally do here on the show, which is premiere brand new music for you from northeastern Pennsylvania. Tom Flannery and the Shillelaghs have a brand new record. They just dropped it. It's called Peace, Love, and Dollar Pints. Tom is a talented guy. He's got a great discography of music. If you jump on TomFlannery.com, you could read a little bit more about him if you're unfamiliar. He's from Lackawanna County. He's actually also a playwright. He actually worked with the late Jason Miller, who was a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer.
Wow. Yeah.
A gentleman that wrote that championship season. He actually directed one of Tom's plays at one point before he passed. So talented guy, been doing music for a long time, and he just dropped a new record with the Shillelaghs. We're going to play a couple tracks from the album tonight. Kick it off with this one. It's called The Have-Nots.
Provisions for all. Mistakes aren't repeated. Help when you fall. The have-nots look out below. Gonna put on a hell of a show. Follow the rain, follow the thunder, follow the heart. Get you in the head. protected, but it seems like you're an exception. And it's been kind of hard to mention that I get lost in your affection. I can't hold it in the way I feel for you, but the list is never ending. What we could do. My heart don't beat the same when I'm with you. Something about you, girl, I just can't get it off my mind. You 2 steps ahead, and I'm about to be behind. I wanna love somebody like got my head turning, catching my eye, like cars colliding as I drive by. And I've been hoping that you don't mind if I come meet you on the south side. You would never know the way I break into, but I get put back together when I'm here with you. Something about you, girl, I just can't get it off my mind. With you 3 steps ahead, and I'm another beat behind. I wanna love somebody like somebody like I wanna tell you, I want you, I need you. Say that you need me too. I wanna tell you, I want you, I need you. I need someone like you. I wanna tell you, I want you, I need you. Say that you need me too. Oh, I wanna tell you, I want you, I need you. I need somebody like somebody like somebody like somebody like you.
Black Tie Stereo here on Music on the Menu on the River with a brand new tune called Somebody Like You. We just premiered that one about 2 weeks ago. And I want to remind everybody that are fans of Black Tie Stereo that they've got a Kickstarter campaign going on their social media, Facebook, trying to get some money to go off to Chicago and record a new record. And they're doing pretty well. But the way they're presenting it to their fans is the more money they raise, the more songs they can record. And so I guess the idea is to get it up there to, you know, a larger size EP instead of just going out and doing some tracks or maybe a full length. So if you're a fan of Black Tie Stereo and you dig the new tune and you want to hear more, jump on their Facebook page and participate in the GoFundMe campaign. We're going to play another new song for you now. New song to the program anyway. I had a little email exchange recently with some of the members of the band Clove. Dave Soretta and his wife Jen have been part of that band for a long time. going back to the late 90s, really. But they've sort of got back together from time to time over the years. They continue to do shows. And I've always stayed in touch. And Dave had some solo material from Jen that she had done outside of Clove. And he just recently sent me this song. And if you're a fan of Clove, this is a little bit of a nugget for you tonight. Brand new song from Jen Surratt. It's called Over Us Tonight.
I want a new life, 'cause this one hurts too bad. Can I tell you every single secret I've ever had? Can I make the past just disappear? Travel till I find a better year. 'Cause there's just so many things that I don't understand. Oh, I know it's never been easy to give your love to me. You tried so hard to bridge a distance no one else could ever see. And I never know why, but I still need you sometimes. So if you feel the same, let the light shine over us tonight. I wanna reach out for something I can feel. Can you tell me every wound I have is about to heal? Can you work a miracle on me? This is not the woman I should be. Why does nothing ever work out quite the way I planned? Oh, I know it's never been easy to give your love to me. You tried so hard to bridge a distance no one else can ever see. And I never know why, but I still need you sometimes. So if you feel the same, let the light shine over us tonight. Let it shine on through the night. This is our time to make everything alright. And I think it's a sign. Oh, I know it's never been easy to give your love to me. You tried so hard to bridge a distance no one else could ever see. When I feel my will start to weaken and my walls begin to break, as you stand in front of me speaking, this desire will awake. And I never know why, but I still need you sometimes. So if you feel the same, let the light shine over us tonight. So if you feel the same, let the light shine over us tonight.
Hey, this is Dustin Douglas from Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentleman, and you're listening to Music on the Menu with Alan K. Stout on the River.
Have you ever woke up in a daydream? Can a daydream be the real thing? Maybe our life is out of a daydream, and you are not the queen to my king. Well, maybe I'm out of my head. Well, I'll just go back to daylight, black skies and starlight, trapped in a low-tide daydream. It's a daydream. Forget what was spoken, all will be broken. Daydream. It's a daydream. Well, hello, my name is Mr. Durden. Am I really alive in a way? But I am sorry if I keep you hurting. Is this daydream all a mistake? Maybe
Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentleman here on Music on the Menu with a song called Daydream. And before that, new music, or new music to the show anyway, from Jen Soretta of Clove, a song called Over Us Tonight. Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentleman just announced a big show this week. They're going to be playing at the FM Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre on November 9th, doing a tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's a Stevie Ray Vaughan retrospective. Stevie actually played the FM Kirby Center back in 1989, 30 years ago. And so in celebration of the great late guitarist being here in Wilkes-Barre, they're going to do a show on November 9th. Tickets on sale now. So if you're a fan of Dustin and a fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan, jump on the Kirby website and you can check that out. We're going to take a break now. We'll be back in a flash. So stick around.
The Woodlands is celebrating 50 years. Do you believe it? 50 years! For 2 generations of the Kornfeld family, there's a pretty good chance that you or someone you know slept in one of their beds. Over those 50 years, most of you came out and partied with them on the deck for 5 Day, or inside the 25th Hour, or Evolution nightclubs. For 5 decades, how many of you have dined in their legendary Left Bank Bistro or Time Restaurant? And in half of a century, thousands of you celebrated your first dance in the Grand Ballroom. For 50 years, the Woodlands has been reinventing itself, and they're not done yet. Now, they're proud to introduce the area's newest outdoor wedding venue, the Bridal Gardens, and the creation of their Streamside Apartments. The Woodlands wants to thank all of you who got them there and invite you to swing by for sushi, grab some pizza, listen to some live music, or just stop in for a cocktail. They're not slowing down. They promise. They're just getting started. Check them out at thewoodlandsresort.com.
All right, we're back here on Music on the Menu on the River. We kicked off the program tonight with some brand new music from Tom Flannery and the Shillelaghs, and I thought I'd play another one for you right now from the new record. This one's called I Still Work For You.
I can feel the sunshine, I can feel the rain, I can hear the lonesome in the whistle of a passing train. I can roam and ramble, I can split myself in two, but when I lay my head down, I still work for you. Yeah, yeah. Dig myself a great big hole, reach for the sky, be laughing on the inside when people see me cry. Blink till my eyes bleed, then face down your crew. But when you say you're leaving, I still work for you. Yeah.
Hey, this is Aaron Fink, and you're listening to Music on the Menu with Alan K. Stout. This is The River.
You're inside, the inside of my brain. You're down below, underneath my
Aaron Fink here on Music on the Menu on the River with a song called Rock Steady Girl from the record Wolves and Butterflies. Aaron dropped that record last year. Of course, he's the former lead guitarist in Breaking Benjamin, and Aaron has been working on some new music. And so we could have a new record from Aaron maybe later next year or early in 2020. Before that, brand new music from Tom Flannery and the Shillelaghs, a song called I Still Work for You from his new record, their new record, Peace and Love and Dollar Pints. You know, we were talking, DC, about that Jimmy Harden interview from last week. And, you know, one of the things that resonated with me from the interview is when Jimmy was talking about signing young bands and young artists.
Yeah.
And he said, we're dealing with glass hearts.
Yeah.
I thought that for a guy that was on the corporate side of the business, that was a really nice thing to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, because you are. You know, this is their life. This is their art. This is their dream. They're placing a lot of that trust in you if they're thinking about signing with you as a label, or if they do. And it was nice that Jimmy hasn't forgotten that.
Yep.
Because he was, you know, on that end of it. I wonder if that helps him. And I'm sure that's been, well, he talked about how it's helped him, because how he, you know, doesn't want to see artists make the same mistakes he made. He doesn't, he tries to give people the kind of help that he didn't get. And so I thought that was one of the most insightful parts of the interview. And also just how he felt, you know, he wanted to, he would tell a story and he would tell you the names of every single person.
Uh-huh.
You know, I took the single to this radio station, and the general manager and the program director and their names.
Yeah, mention the names.
I went up to WIA to have it pressed, and, you know, the facility manager up there, and he mentioned that gentleman's name.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And, you know, that was probably just a hired job. You know, he's just paying somebody to press your records.
Right.
But yet here 34 years later, Jimmy remembers them by name.
That really says something about Jimmy, about the type of person he is, that he remembers all these people's names of, you know, those who he met on the way up, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to bring him back and maybe talk to him some more about that side of it, about signing bands. Like he mentioned how they look for the downloads and the Spotify spins and on Amazon and all that stuff. Like, is there a magic number?
Right.
You know, because I know back in the 90s with independent records, the magic number was about 10,000.
Okay.
You know, if you were selling about 10,000 records in your hometown through SoundScan, legit sales, and getting some airplay and some press in your hometown, then the labels would start to take a look at you. So, you know, I think we could do another hour with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll bring him back one of these days. Here's a brand new music from an up-and-coming band. This is the Boomtown Boys. They're from Williamsport, and they're doing their record. They did their last record down to 8 Days a Week studio with Paul Smith from the Badleys on production. This is from their forthcoming record, which isn't going to be out till the fall, but they're giving us an early listen. This one's called Everything Changes. Boomtown Boys.
17 seems like so damn long ago. I barely had enough gas to make my old truck go. Butting heads with my dad, he said, leave that one alone. She's not the kind of girl to give up and to go.
Chris Molyneux here on Music on the Menu on the River with a song called Time After Time. That's Chris Molyneux and the Space Machine. Brand new music from Chris. We just premiered that one here about 2 weeks ago. And before that, brand new song to the show tonight, a premiere for us, a song called Everything Changes. I want to talk real briefly, DC, about Music on the Menu Live, the music series.
Yeah.
We've been doing that here at the casino now for more than 5 years.
Yep.
It was every Tuesday, and then it was every Wednesday.
Yeah, the first Tuesday of the month, and then we changed it to the first Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, about a year ago. Yep. I've been doing a similar series like that if you go back to 2006 down at the Woodlands. So I've been doing them for 13 years, I guess, now. We'd be talking about maybe who's coming up in August. We're not going to do a show in August. I've been thinking about this for 6 months now. I talked to everybody up here at the river about it about 2 months ago. And, we kind of made a decision that we're going to do those shows when we feel we want to do one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to do them just because it's time to do one.
Hey, it's that time of the month.
We got to do a Music on the Menu Live. It's, because our music series is so unique with the live radio broadcast. That's what makes it special. That's the only thing that makes it interesting for me to do. I've done showcase type shows before down at the waterfront years ago. They were a lot of fun. I applaud anybody that wants to do something like that where you get bands and you put them on stage in a club and you give them some exposure. And, I did that. I did that a long time ago. When I wanted to launch a new one, going back to the Woodlands days with the live series, I thought, how can we take it up to the next level? And that meant putting it live on the radio. So I've always been real honest with our listeners about how I, think about things and how decisions I make sometimes. So you do that for 13 years, like I've been doing, and the bands that have the catalog of music that can come up and do an hour on the radio of great songs, most of them have played the series a couple times. You're talking about your Aaron Finks, you're talking about Dustin Douglas, you're talking about Miz, you're talking about Brett Alexander, the late George Wesley. The bands that have maybe a couple of records or more And they're always willing to come back and do a show for us when they have a new record. And so we'll do a show. Also, up-and-coming bands. You want to get new bands on there, too. You know, we pride ourselves in showcasing new music all the time. So we have someone like Patrick McGlynn come up and do a show. Or, you know, we talk to somebody like a Joe Burke or Adam Knowlton, some of these people that have been sending us great tunes over the last couple of years. And so that was great. But to get new songs from some bands, Black Tie Stereo is another one. They did Music on the Menu Live, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. So, you know, sometimes a good up-and-coming band will send us a couple of good songs. Maybe they don't even have a record. It's an MP3. That makes it great for Sunday night. We love that. We play them on the show all the time. But we might not know if they have enough good material to do an hour live on the radio.
Right.
And that's a big deal. You know, they're probably the only country in the state, we're probably the only radio station in the country that does this. So we're going to do them when it feels right. You know, the series isn't over. We just ran a long line all the way from the soundboard at Breakers, you know. And I love what Breakers does because they changed that total room around for our shows. I had a couple of things I really required if I was going to do a music series there. Turn off the televisions, or at least put on, you know, the Music on the Menu logo. I don't want people watching basketball games and, you know, watching a game show while an artist is up there performing. I find that disrespectful. Close the curtain and try to turn that room for 1 hour a week. And the room was built for music. I mean, there's a soundboard there, built-in great sound system. But let's give it the atmosphere for just music. And they were wonderful with that, and they are. And so we've got a great vibe there, and we'll be back. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a show in September, October. I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. We haven't, you know, but we're going to do them when it feels right, when we have an artist who is capable of putting a great concert on the radio. And so that's when we'll be back. And hopefully that'll be soon. You know, I'm always thinking about it. We're going to take a quick break now. We'll be back in a flash, so stick around.
The Woodlands is celebrating 50 years. Do you believe it? 50 years. For 2 generations of the Kornfeld family, there's a pretty good chance that you or someone you know slept in one of their beds. Over those 50 years, most of you came out and partied with them on the deck for 5 Day, or inside the 25th Hour, or Evolution nightclubs. For 5 decades, how many of you have dined in their legendary Left Bank Bistro or Time Restaurant? And in half of a century, thousands of you celebrated your first dance in the Grand Ballroom. For 50 years, the Woodlands has been reinventing itself, and they're not done yet. Now, they're proud to introduce the area's newest outdoor wedding venue, the Bridal Gardens, and the creation of their Streamside Apartments. The Woodlands wants to thank all of you who got them there and invite you to swing by for sushi, grab some pizza, listen to some live music, or just stop in for a cocktail. They're not slowing down. They promise. They're just getting started. Check them out at thewoodlandsresort.com.
All right, we're back here on Music on the Menu on the River. You know, DC, just to finish up on that thought about Music on the Menu Live, too, for the radio standpoint, you know, you're asking bands to do something, you know, for exposure, and I hate that word exposure because I know that the bands, they're tired of being, there's memes and everything about it, you know? You know, and so when I relaunched the series at the Woodlands, and I talked to, you know, getting it on the radio, that's serious exposure. You know, that could be thousands of people listening, and it could be all ages people listening. And, you know, to be honest with you, I've often wondered if putting it on the radio maybe even hurt the attendance at the show, because if you're a big fan of the band and you can go and see them in the clubs 10 times a year, that might be more cool, you know, to sit home and listen on the radio.
Yeah, because,
you know, like even your mom and dad or your parents, you know, oh, we're not going to come out and see you on Wednesday, Johnny. We want to listen to you on the radio. You know, we'll see you on Friday at the Jazz Cafe. You know, hey, I get that. You know, and that's fine with me. You know, because you know they tell us they see a spike in their Facebook likes and their downloads and their iTunes whenever they do a show with us. So that's really cool. And so that component is also what led to the decision. We got to make these shows special. They got to be home runs, you know. And so that's what we're going to do. This week was the 50th anniversary of Apollo.
Yes.
And you saw I put a song in the playlist tonight. I'm sure you're smiling because it's your nickname. Mike Collins, the astronaut who flew the module to the moon and circled around the moon for, I guess it was a day or two by himself.
Yep.
While Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were walking on the moon. This is from Big King Moose, featuring our buddy Joe Wigleski, who also produced the Tom Flannery stuff that we're playing tonight, and is in that band. You know what, DC? I was thinking about all the NASA stuff this week. Were you because you're 10 years younger than me, so I've this generational thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid in the 70s, astronauts were the bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, a poster of Buzz Aldrin in my room.
Right.
You know, I used to pretend you were Neil Armstrong.
Uh-huh.
The $6 Million Man TV show, the Planet of the Apes TV show was astronaut toys, everything was that still your generation or is that mine?
Yeah, when the space shuttle program, I grew up in the 80s, the space shuttle program, that was really starting to ramp up. That was the cool thing. So you had the astronauts and you had that really cool, ship that, launched vertically and came back, landing like an airplane.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it had to land it, splash the thing down in the ocean. They had the splash downs.
Yep.
When you were a kid, they just landed the thing.
Yeah, they landed like it was an airplane, like they just came back from, a flight to California.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that your heroes were astronauts too.
Yep.
Here's a song about one of those heroes. This is called Mike Collins.
Hey, this is Tom Flannery, and you're listening to Music on the Menu with Alan K. Stout on The River.
I never really knew just what made me come here. Just got tired of walking in place. Woke up to the sun in my eyes. Took all day to see your face. This time I'm finally gonna let go and surrender to the sound of no more expectations and your love just lying around. I never really knew just what made me hang on with letting go of work before. Slipping out of bedroom windows, the slide between back porch doors. But now I finally wanna lay down, sleep forever in your arms. If home is where the heart is, girl, let it beat among your charms. Too much thinking ain't such a bad thing, but can surely get in the way. Between the words stuck in my head and the ones I'm brave enough to say. But now I finally wanna lay down, sleep forever in your arms. If home is where the heart is, girl, let it beat among your charms. I never really knew just what time could do to a head bouncing off a cloud. Like a tattoo you'll soon regret when you're naked in a crowd. I can see just where this is going, 'cause the coast is finally clear. No need to leave a light on, 'cause I'm already here. Hey!
Tom Flannery and the Shillelaghs here on Music on the Menu on the River with a song called Never Really Knew, another track from the new record, Peace and Love and Dollar Pints. Love that name from that band from Lackawanna County. I also want to, before we sign off here, I want to thank Dave Pedry, Luzerne County Manager, for checking in here on the River earlier in the week and talking about the Rockin' on the River music series that happened at River Common throughout the month of July on Fridays. Great series. I went down and checked them out, and just so happy to see that, to see a lot of people down at that beautiful walkway near the Market Street Bridge enjoying some great tunes. So hats off to those guys, and they said they'll be back next summer, and so something to look forward to in the summer of 2020. Leaving now, as I always do, with the Badleys. This one's from Epiphones and Empty Rooms from 2012. It's called Wanderlust. We'll catch you next week.
Up your regret and transcendental blues and headed down that lost highway. Another pretty face you left behind to clean up the place. You never mean a single word you say. You say, yeah, 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 yeah. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's time you ought to say? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's said, you may call me a liar, but I don't think the universe conspires to wipe a single tear from my eyes. The moon, it doesn't care, and the sun, it doesn't shine in stares. The rain applauds while we try to keep dry. To keep dry. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's time you called it a day? Hey, don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's time you ran away? There are two sides to each story. There are two sides to each story. There are two sides to each story. Put on my walking shoes, packed up my heart and my working class blues, headed down that lost highway.